We live, we live, we live, we are live, we are live. Another episode of Rig, scripted and fixed. We are here like swimwear and all that good shit. Cursing already? Let me cut it off. Let me cut it off real quick. I'll put it back on. Yeah, but another episode of Rig, scripted and fixed. We gonna talk about it. Shout out to the people that is coming in and all that good shit. So as you know, I've been on it for a couple of months, and I'm not gonna get off of it. I'm not gonna let off of it. I'm not saying it's gonna be a foregone conclusion when it comes to the NFL, right? But the number 14 is the clue. I've been saying it for months, right? And I think it's about time people at least listen to me, right? At least. Because we keep seeing it everywhere. So you know, on today's episode of RSF, Rick Scripted and Fix, I just wanna, I wanna pick your brain a little bit. And I also wanna know from y'all, how do you think this is gonna affect the NFL? And what I mean by that is, let me get on the screen, right? What I mean by that is, I've spoke about it, but being that we starting to see it a lot, how is it gonna affect, let's say the playoffs, right? The one and the four. How is it gonna affect the playoffs with each shit? It could be each conference, right? The Super Bowl itself. I'll give my thoughts once again. I have before, but I'm gonna give it again on the whole the number 14, right? Oh, hold on, we forgot to put that on the screen. Right there on the top right corner, number 14. Um, yeah, so I need to know from y'all, like, what do you think may happen with the one and the four? I have a couple of thoughts. You know, um, I start off by saying that now anybody that wants to catch up when they watch the playback, they can watch the playback, right? But how I feel about the number 14, we've been seeing it for months. Um, it raised the eyebrow to me, I would say, the NBA Finals for sure. When the NBA Finals hit, right? Now, number 14 was suspect to me before that, prior to that. But I've never spoke on it on a live because when you see certain patterns at first, it's like, okay, whatever, whatever. But when you see it more and more and more, that's when you kind of look at it like, oh, I don't know, something's weird about this. And that's what that was. I think that's when I finally came to the conclusion that I have to look out for the number 14 was in the NBA finals. Right? What do we have? OKC Thunder versus Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers, they was the number 4 seed, right? OKC was the number 1 seed. All right, 1 versus 4, right? What's the number that we usually talk about? The main number we talk about here is like the 3, right? And you got the 33, but just the 3 in general, we talk about that. So I looked at it like that. Okay, yeah, 4 and 1. What's in between 4 and 1? Like, what's the difference between 4 and 1? The difference between 4 and 1 is 3, right? Okay, 4 plus 1. I mean, 1 plus 3 would be 4. 4 take away 1 to give you 3. So we was looking at it like that, right? The 3. Once again, we looked at so that's no big deal when it comes to the 3, right? You look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers just won. They was the number 3 seed. We know how that goes, right? The Dodgers kind of had a similar season to what the Kansas City Chiefs had a couple of years ago, actually, which is funny with a number 3 seed winning, right? So we had that, right? Um, not the WNBA finals. WNBA finals actually was the 20. When you look at Aja Wilson, you know, she had a great season. She's number 22. She's a number 4. I mean, if you add her numbers up, her jersey up is number 4. Now, people, this is not a conspiracy theorist type of show. I want to let that be known for anyone that's watching, right? So don't think it's one of those. It's not a gematria show. There's nothing wrong with people that do that, but I'm just saying this is not a gematria episode or anything like that. It's basically saying that this particular number's in our face, and in order to get a hint of what's usually what's probably going to happen in the Super Bowl, you have to pay attention to this number. Basically, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That's what I need my music. So this is what I want you guys to watch out for. Is the number 4, the number 4, or even the number 14, right? Because it's there and it's here for a reason, right? Now, I can start off by talking about a whole bunch of streaks. If you look at losing streaks and winning streaks, all sports, but since the NFL's what's going on right now, basketball just started, so we still got to see more patterns in basketball, even though there has been so far, but there are a couple of games in right now. I don't know what, they're at least 10, 11 games in or something like that, right? Whatever, right? So I just tell people, pay attention to these patterns. Also, you have to pay attention to the number 11. The number 11 pops up as well, but wherever you see a number 11, best believe the number 3 is going to be involved as well. 11 plus 3, there you go. So it's like these patterns. So it's going to bring us to this. When it comes to the playoffs, I told you my thoughts about the playoffs, right? I won't. I'll say this. I won't be surprised, right? I won't be surprised if we see a 1 versus 4. I'm going to say this a lot and during the stream. I won't be surprised if we see a 1 versus 4, right? Hold on. Right, so I looked at it like this, like I told you guys. Mark says those 4s have been on fire in the NHL. Oh my God, yes. Real quick, the Utah, I think that's the newest team, or one of the newest teams in NHL. They went on a 4-game home streak last week. And their 5th game at home, they went against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think happened? They lost their fifth game at home, and now they're 4-1. It brings it back to the 1-4, 4-1, 1-4. However you want to look at it, people. The streaks is right there in your face. So that's just to name an example. So shout out to Mark on that one. So yeah, back to what I was saying, right? We got to look at it like this. Y'all know my stance. Are we going to see a 1 versus 4 seed? If we see a 1 versus 4 seed, I think I'm going to jump off a roof. Either side, it could be the number 1 seed can be from the AFC, it could be from the NFC. Number 4 seed can be from the NFC, it could be from the AFC. It doesn't matter. But are we going to see a 1 versus 4 or 44 versus 1? It really doesn't matter. Now, I have a couple of seed picks that I like, and it's four of them, right? So once again, 1 versus 4, doesn't matter the conference, y'all. 2 versus 2, right? 2 versus 2. 2 versus 7, doesn't matter the conference. And last but not least, which can be a stretch, but I would love to see this. I remember I said this, I think right before week 1, a 7 versus 7. Now that would be funny if the NFL was to have a 7 versus 7, the wild card, the very last 2 teams to get in the playoffs end up in the Super Bowl. That would be something interesting as well. So I repeat, 2 versus 7, 7 versus 7, 1 versus 4, and 2 versus 2. And this is me saying all of this without us even knowing who's playing in the playoffs yet. And what's funny about that is you guys know my stance on certain teams that I believe just won't win the Super Bowl. Now, just because I'm giving out the seeds don't mean I'm saying who's going to win the Super Bowl as a whole. Now that, when it's time for us to cross that bridge, that's when we'll have that conversation of who's ultimately going to raise that trophy. Which I won't be surprised if it's a 4 seed that actually raises the trophy. So hopefully the teams that I usually say have no chance, hopefully any one of them are not a 4, like the Lions, right? You know how I feel about the Lions. Hopefully they don't end up no goddamn 4 seed over there on in the NFC, right? You guys get what I'm saying, right? Buffalo Bills, we know the whole situation with them, but you know what? I gotta I'm not saying that they're gonna win, right? But last show that we had a couple of days ago, I said, wouldn't it be funny? Because there's a pattern going on with the Buffalo Bills, right? Wouldn't it be funny if they was to win the Super Bowl and then they become 1-4, right? That would be dead funny.
Are you fucking serious?
Now I'm not saying that's going to happen, y'all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying if it does, it does. Remember, I don't have no favorite team. I don't have no dog in the fight. It's like, you know, I I don't know. Usually, I don't never pick Buffalo Bills to win a Super Bowl. There was a time I've had a pick for them to go and lose. That was about 2 years ago. I said, yeah, they'll probably win, beat the Chiefs, go to the Super Bowl, and lose to the 49ers. But instead, we have 49ers versus Chiefs, which was the rematch from 2020, right? So I thought the 49ers could have won if they went against the Buffalo Bills. That's how I thought the NFL was going to set it up, right? But as far as if the Bills was to go, because there's a pattern going on for them, but you know how I am. Like when Buffalo Bills, you just gotta be careful. Shout out to my chat. You know, so hopefully certain teams, the right teams, especially the teams that I'm high on, hopefully they end up in the number ones and the number fours or the number twos and even the number sevens. I'm not so high on 3 seeds or 6 seeds, probably 3 seeds or 6 seeds, which is weird, right? Because that's usually what tends to always pop out all the time, right? Winning, right? But this year I'm not too sure about that. Hey, if it happens, it happens. I'm just not high on it this year. But I tell you what, if we don't get a 2 versus 7, 7 versus 7, 1 versus 4, or 2 versus 2, if we don't get that, I do believe the number 14 will be involved somehow, some way in the Super Bowl. Maybe the winning team wins by 14, right? Maybe the total score ends up like how the Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals total score was. Maybe not that exact score, but maybe it ends up 77, a total of 77 points. And then when you add up 7 plus 7, you get 14, right? Maybe something like that does happen. Maybe somebody wins by 14. You guys get what I'm saying? Maybe a player that's number 14 stands out or does something, or he could be number 72, or he can be number 27, right? Or 27, 72, or he can be number 14. Maybe one of those players stand out, but I'm trying to tell you that number 14 is going to end up in that Super Bowl some way, somehow. I promise you. That's right. Yes, the Bills could be 1 versus 4 in the Super Bowl, right? It's just that we just gotta sit back and see how these playoffs move. But the good thing is, y'all, we are in November. So now this is when things start to change, right? A lot of things that you guys saw in September and a lot of things that you guys saw in October is about to change up with certain teams. A lot of teams that was doing good, NFL's going to have them drop back down to reality. Right? So I want you guys to understand that. So this should be in your notes, the number 14, because it's not about me being no conspiracy theorist. It's right there. That's what I try to tell people. Forget about what I'm saying. It's right there. So it's not my opinion. Like, oh, you think this and you think that. No, it's right there. Let me tell you something. If I didn't bring up the number 14, I don't think nobody would have noticed the number 14 when it comes to a lot of things. And it's not even just happening in sports. It's happening in politics too. You guys don't see the funny things that's happening, the things that I'm posting up on the YouTube, right? On the YouTube post section, right? You see what I'm posting up. Why does that number always pop up? There's millions of different number combinations in this world, right? Why does this particular combination always pop up? Why does it always pop up? And when you try to ask people, they don't know what to say. And yes, November, December is going to be different. I feel like a lot of teams is going to come down to earth. Me personally, I don't think the Colts are going to be as hot as they were September and October. That's just one team. That's just one team that I think they're going to come back to earth. The Patriots, a little suspect on that one too, to be honest with you, because I mean, Drake May's the rookie, right? Drake May's a rookie, right? I don't see him getting no MVP or anything like that. I don't see no script for him to do it to pull a Tom Brady. I don't see it. I personally don't see it. I think that's all hype. So I think the whole Patriots thing will fix itself. Is it possible that they'll go to the playoffs? Yeah. But I don't see it being the way y'all think it is. The Colts, once again, some teams that are not bottom feeders, but on the bottom when it comes to the playoffs, they might switch places. So when we pick these games now, we have to really think about that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Drake May, this is his second year. This is his second year, right? Right, Gigi? He's not a rookie. This is his second year. I'm sorry. But that's what I'm saying. Like, is the script for him? Or is the script for him and the Patriots? Well, Mike Vrabel, whatever, his first year as the head coach of the Patriots, like, okay, he comes back to, I guess, where he's originally from, as far as his playing roots as a New England Patriot. Okay, now he's back there. Is it the year for the Patriots to win again? You understand? Yes, sir. Yes, it's his second year. That's right, Gigi. Well, I mean, here's my stance. Here's my stance on players being good or not. I think almost all these players are naturally gifted. Me personally, I think they are, because obviously they had to get there, right? Whether it's rigged or not, they had to get there. So that's why I always say, I don't think, what do I always say? I don't think Patrick Mahomes is the best. That's just the guy that they're pushing. I do believe there's quarterbacks that's probably ranked 17th or 18th that's actually better than Patrick Mahomes. It's just all about who they are pushing. So I do think a lot of these quarterbacks are good. Just all about who they want to push. I never listened to the narrative of, of this player is the actual best player. We don't know if they're the actual best player, right? So yeah, as far as like, the Patriots, you got to see how that plays out, right? But the number 14, I really want you guys to really pay attention to it when it comes to the playoffs, right? It's not a for sure thing, but if we get a 1 versus 4, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. That would be crazy if we get a 1 versus 4. 2 versus 7, 7 versus 7, 2 versus 2. That's the 4, right? Those are the 4 that I'm looking at. Even I'm telling you guys this early. Those are the ones that I'm looking at without even knowing the standings of who's going to get what seed. Now, out of those 4 that I said, I also won't be surprised if a number 5 seed was to win. Not saying that's going to happen, but worst comes to worst, if a number 5 seed was to win, I won't be surprised. Brings it back to the 1 versus 4. Still 5. For those that just started rocking with me maybe a couple of weeks ago, I've been talking about it. I mentioned it on a live, around one of the NBA lives. NBA Live. It's funny, the video game, right? Around one of the NBA Lives, I've mentioned 14 briefly, though. I said it like for 1 minute. I spoke about it. I'll have to go and find it. It was brief because we had the Thunder once again, the Thunder and the Indiana Pacers, which I don't see how anybody didn't even see that from the get-go. How weird that was. That was like weird as hell, and nobody noticed it, right? But that the NFL shooter, right? Once again, that the NFL shooter, he came from Vegas to the NFL, all the way here to New York to the NFL headquarters, which the NFL headquarters happened to be on what? The 5th floor, which is funny. The 5th floor, right? But he ended up on the 33rd floor. I don't understand how you go from wanting to go to 5, because obviously you knew what floor it was, because you already knew what building it was going to go in. That's why I still think this story is kind of suspect. You end up on the 33rd floor. 28 floors higher than what you were supposed to be, right? He was number 5 in LA, which was also funny too. He played football in LA, high school football, which the Super Bowl next year, that's going to be in LA, right? LA Dodgers win this year. There's a lot of things going on with the state of California with football this year, which is funny. He ends up he's number 5 in football. Y'all can go fact check that. It's funny. That's kind of funny. He also died because I think he killed himself, right? He killed, or someone killed him or whatever. Well, he ended his life. Let's say that he was the age of 27 when he did this back in September, or the ending of October, or whatever. He happened to be number 27. 27, y'all. He happened to be 27. Think about that. He happened to be 27 when that happened. He was a football player, quote unquote, had CTE, right? His number was 5, and he happened to die at the age of 27. These are the things I try to tell people pay attention to. Oh man, your man Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk happens to be born on October of the 14th. There goes that number again. We're gonna have what was he? What you want to call him? You don't want to call him an activist, right? What would you guys call him? Right? Which is besides the point, right? But somebody that a lot of people knew about, right? In the political world, he was a known figure, right? And it just happened to be a political figure who was born on October 14th. Shout out to my chat. Of course, I'm gonna get to y'all, right? But you guys see what I'm saying, right? This is not like no conspiracy theory shit. Once again, these are things that you have to pay attention to. When I hear certain news, I pay attention to those type of things. A lot of people pay attention to the regular shit. Nah, I need to know what do these numbers mean? It's there, especially when it keeps popping up. You get what I'm saying? Like, it just keeps popping up. Right? So I just want you guys to take notes of all these things that I'm saying. Charlie Kirk, yeah, number 14, right? They just had before we get on the Cowboys, the player that just died. But speaking of NFL players that died, what was it? Arthur Jones, right? That played for the Ravens when he had died, right? I think that's last month or something like that. We spoke about it briefly. When he had passed away at the age of what? He had passed away at the age of 39. I'm not the smartest man in the room, but if you multiply 3 versus 9, I'm not sure, but I think you get 27. I can be bugging, but 9 times 3 is 27. That's just what I think. I could be wrong, right? And you guys understand the 27 club? Yeah. I heard someone in the chat just say that, right? Cannon said that just now. So what, you got 27. What's 2 times 7? It would be 14. These numbers just keep popping up. This is not my opinion. It's not my opinion. It just keeps popping up. I remember I laughed when they spoke about how much time they gave Diddy, right? When Pete Diddy's a famous person, right? What they gave him. They gave Pete Diddy 4 years. They gave 4 years with 1 year served. Because remember, he got arrested and put in jail around this time last year. Well, last month of last year, right? So October to October, right? That's actually 1 year. They gave him 4 years, but in that 4 years, you get one time served. They made sure they kept them in 1 year before they announced that they gave him 4 years, but you get the 1 year served already.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's come on, people. Come on, people. What number the whole y'all know what happened 2 weeks ago with the Jets, right? Another player, another football player who died, right? Come on now, that number 14, once again. What did he die? He died at the age of 41 or some shit like that, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Ironically, 41, and then that same and the day that he was being honored, not honored, but that game between the Jets and the Bengals, they score a combined, because it was 39-38. They score a combined of 77 points. And if you add up 7 plus 7, you get what? Those are just things that I covered already. I'm not going to hurt your head to keep talking about it. But I'm just saying, these are little things that we spoke about. Why does the number 14 keep popping up? Y'all can call me crazy all y'all want. I shout out to my chat, because I see y'all with y'all little stats y'all coming with. But somebody tell me I'm bugging out. Anyone that's not in the chats that's watching, please understand. Pay attention to we're going to see something. The reason why I'm doing this show is to let you guys know we are going to see something in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry about that. In the Super Bowl that is going to involve the number 14. Be ready for that. For all of those who watch, pay attention to the stats in the Super Bowl. If we don't have a 1 versus 4 seed, right? If we don't have a 1 versus 4, 2 versus 7, 2 versus 2, 7 versus 7. If we don't have that, best believe the score or a spread margin or something is going to involve 14. Somebody loses by 14 points, right? The total score involves 14 some way, somehow through addition, right? You're gonna see some shit like that happen. I promise you, there's gonna be 14 involved in the Super Bowl some way, somehow, especially in the playoffs. That's a fact. I want you guys to know that. And I promise you that. The number 14, I've been saying it for months, I've been stressing it for months. It's gonna be involved some way, somehow. And shit, what happened in the World Series what was it, last week or so, right? We didn't get a 1 versus 4. We got a 1 versus 3, which is funny because you add that up, you get that whole 4. So is this about 4 or is it about the 14? Because 4 times 1 is 4, right? But that 4 once again just keeps popping up along with the 14, as you guys know. So I found that funny that we had got a 1 versus 4. Toronto got the number 1 overall seed, and they end up going against the Dodgers, which was the 3, and you already know they gifted the 3 with the win, right? But then that was 4 involved. But as far as the game itself, what happened? Nobody won 4 games to 1, right? No, that didn't happen. It went to 7 games, which 7 usually pops up often when it comes to this 14. But what time did that game technically start? They said that game was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. So you had game 7 starting at 7 o'clock. And yeah. But anyway, that's besides the point. When the Dodgers was about to lose, they was down 3-4. I think it was number 72. Rojas, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Who's the one that saved the day for the Dodgers? Chat, y'all know who saved the day. Saved the day. Not have them take the lead, but when they was about to lose, I think they had 2 outs left, right? Toronto had 2 more outs left to win, right? But somebody happens to tie it up to save the Dodgers from losing. Who happened? Who was that? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Rojas, right, for the Dodgers, right? He hits the home run. And what was his number? Oh my God, he happens to be number 72.
Are you fucking serious?
So you're gonna tell me he, ironically, number 72 is the one that hits that home run? No, they threw that ball to him straight down the middle so he can hit that home run. Number 72. That was funny. Not to mention we had Guerrero Jr. He was number 27, right? For the Blue Jays. You know, they didn't win, but he was the star of the show on that team. He's number 27, and that brings back the 14 again. I mean, shout out to my guys in the chat. Shout out to everyone watching. But you see what I'm saying, right? I want you guys to pay attention to it just doesn't ironically happen like that. And that's just to name a couple of things, right? I find this one funny. Let me show you guys something. Because I just don't pay attention to sports. Pay attention to politics a lot. Let me see something, right? No, not that. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let me start off. Let me start off with that one, right? I found this funny as you guys can see on the screen, right? Let me move it over. Let me move it over here. You guys can see that. You can see that better, right? Right. So you see right here on the screen. This is, I think this was last week or whatever. The U.S. they killed 14 people. So that's what they mean, because it doesn't say what 14 meant. They killed 14 people in strikes on 4 alleged drug boats. Also, ironically, you killed 14 people on these drug boats, huh? Ironically, right? Ironically, the U.S. you killed 14 people. You killed 14 people, right? What was this, last week or something? You killed 14 people. Not 10, not 9, not 7, not 8, not 15, 16, 17. You killed 14 people. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? For those that's watching, please understand what I'm saying. This particular number always keeps popping up. It keeps popping up. Okay, y'all already know. I showed you guys this one already. I posted this one. Y'all see it? In Disney World. You know, right now Disney World is a big deal because of these deaths happening in Disney World, which I think a lot of evil shit actually does go on in Disney World. This is the reason why I'm kind of skeptical about like dealing with Disney World. It's not always the way you guys think it is. I do think they on some like evil shit, to be honest with you, right? The deaths mount to 4 deaths, which can be a lot, especially going to a place like Disney World, right? It says Disney World deaths mount to 4 over 1 month, not 2 months, not 3 weeks, not none of that. They specifically had to say over 1 month, and it had to be 4 deaths.
Are you fucking serious?
In Disney World. There's a lot of people that's not going to want to go there now. Right? Let's just keep it 100. Look at this guy. I mean, you guys see it, right? I just want to show you guys, like, so far since we've been live, a lot of things is 14, and there's a lot of things in the chat you guys are saying about, a couple of stats NHL and things like that. Bunch of out records going hitting 27 or 2-7 or some shit like that. 1-4. I'm trying to tell y'all. Now, am I going to say you're going to be 1000% correct about hitting the 14 all the time? No, of course not. Everything in the world is not going to just be 14 all the time, but you have to pay attention to all these records and these stats that's dealing with the 14 some way, somehow. The Cowboys, the game that they just lost on, whether the Cowboys covered the spread or they didn't cover the spread, right? You do know there was some stat, I had posted it up, right? That's why I told you guys do what you will with that information. And the reason why I said that, and I didn't say who was going to win or who was going to lose, I want you guys to know that, right? Because I think there was some people insinuating that I was saying that the Cowboys was going to cover the spread. But no, because if you would have paid attention to what I posted, it could have went either way. If they covered the spread or they didn't cover the spread, the 1-4 was going to be involved some way, somehow. That's the reason why I told people, do what you will with this information. That's why. If I really felt that the Cowboys was going to win this, you guys know I would have said that. But I said, oh no, this looks kind of suspect. They can cover or they won't cover. The 14 is going to be in that record some way, somehow. Because I think it could have been 10-3, and if they dropped, then it's 10-4. So now obviously 10-4, 14, and then if they would have covered 11 and something, and the 14 would have been right there. I think it was 13-0 or something like that, and they would have been 14 if they would have covered. Whatever. You guys can go back to that. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like, right there. Right there. Right? Yeah. When Arizona won the game. That's right, Mark. When Arizona won the game, they happened to score 27 points. Yes. What they beat them 27-17. Right? 27-17, you add that up, you get 44. The 4 being involved some way, somehow. Right? Another one. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about this yesterday. 2 days ago or something like that, right? You guys know about the what was it? The UPS plane, right? That crash, right? You guys know about that. One in the chat if you guys heard about that. You know what's so funny about that, Mark, too? Arizona scored 14 in the second quarter. Yes. You want to know what's so funny? You know what the Cardinals, the number 14, I think stands for Cardinal. Yes, I forgot to tell people about that. LeBron will be 41 in the month. Absolutely. Yes, he was. He's going to be 41 in this month. See, that's what I'm saying. Shout out to my chat. You know what I'm saying? I see what you guys are saying, right? Exactly, right? Look. Y'all know about the UPS plane that crashed, I think the day before yesterday, right? Let me move this over. Just move it over here to the side. I think right there is good, right? Y'all see that? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Read it real good. Now, if anybody's not on the screen and you're just listening to the audio of this show, right? At least, let me read it for you. At least 3 killed. Right? They got to bring the 3 in it some way, somehow, right? Now, check this out, though. At least 3 killed and 11 injured. That 11, what did I say a couple of months too? Pay attention to that 11. That 11 is a very important number as well because the 3 is always involved. We've been talking about the 3 for a long time, and 11 and 3 gives you what? I don't even think I need to tell you, right? So at least 3 killed, 11 injured after the UPS plane crashes at Louisville Airport. A massive fire prompts shelter-in-place order. That was a big deal, right? So you see the 2 numbers involved. At least 3 people was killed, 11 injured, 11 and 3. That's the reason why if you notice, ironically too, the Seahawks wide receiver number 11 is doing so great as well. And the number three, the number three is always going to be involved, especially in the NFL. You guys know that. We don't have to keep repeating that shit. 11-3 still going to bring us back to the number that you see on the top. The number 14.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Oh. You guys want to talk about certain records right now? Yeah. What? We can talk about certain records. Yeah. Right. And that goes back to this too. When I gave those picks last week, right? That's the reason against the Colts, pretty much. Let me just get straight to the point. The Colts was 7-1. Daniel Jones' number obviously 17. Right? I said I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna lose this game. They're gonna drop this game. And then sure enough, like someone said in the chat, Marcus said, yeah, the Colts they're now 7-2. Colts are now 7-2. Now we about to hit the second half of the season. So they end up 7-2 in the first half of the season. Wow, that's funny. New England Patriots, they're 7-2, right? Before the first half of the season. I mean, before the second half of the season. I'm sorry, what am I talking about? You know, Denver Broncos, they're 7-2 before the second half of the season, right? Well, that's it. Yeah, that's really it because nobody's 7-2 on the NFC. It's just really the AFC, which that's why I say you're going to see a big switch and you're going to see a lot of big disappointments happening in the second half of the season. Doesn't 27 mean lose or bad or some shit like that? Something's going to happen with the Patriots. Mark my words, the Patriots, the Colts, or the Denver Broncos. Be careful. I don't think all of them is just going to drop at the same time, but you're going to see something funny happen to one of those three teams on the second half of the season. You're going to be in for something. Be very careful with your betting, people. Or whoever you're rooting for, if you guys got any like fantasy leagues or something going on, you would have to be careful. Yeah, the 27 club, right? Reserve with 27 is kind of like losing to some shit like that, right? Or something like that. Reserve, go look that up. I know you got the info. Put it back in that chat. Let me know. It's something like that. I remember months ago I researched it. It doesn't mean it's a good number, so to say. The whole 27 thing is usually lose or take a loss or something like that. But I know Reserve is gonna come with the info. But you guys you guys go, yeah, they go Mark on fire with the stats. Got Mark is trying to outdo me. You see him, right? He's like, yo, the Raiders are going 2-7 tonight. Which is funny about that too, because it probably, I'm not telling people to go out there and bet that, but it probably should make sense because what's his name for the Raiders? What's that dude on defense? Because I think he won't be there no more. So the Raiders will actually have to lose in order to freaking get him out of there. It would make more, because if they're winning, what's the sense of getting rid of him? Crosby, right? Yeah, Crosby. It wouldn't make no sense for the Dolphins, the Raiders to keep winning. So I think Crosby is supposed to go somewhere. Wasn't they like campaigning for him to go to the Cowboys, or I think it was an NFC team. I know I saw the news last week or whatever. So in order to get him out of here, you know. Yeah, exactly. There you go, repeat. Yeah, Crosby. I remember seeing that news. So in order to get him out of here, like, we gotta lose. You guys know how that go. When it's time for a player to leave, why have them keep winning? The fuck am I gonna get rid of you for? You know, so that doesn't make no sense. So shout out to y'all on that one. So, right? So as you guys can. Yeah. The trade. Yeah, the trade deadline. No, but here's the thing. Not this year. Just in general. Like Crosby won't be on the Raiders next year. That's what we're saying. So like, if the Raiders go on a winning streak, it just won't make no sense. Or no, if they have a successful season in the second half, it won't make no sense to try to get rid of Crosby. Don't make no sense. So if they continue to stink it up, now Crosby can leave. You know? Now he can leave. Get rid of him. all right, you need to get a better offer for him or something like that. Which I think is gonna happen anyway. Personally, I think that's gonna happen, right? So you gotta think about all this shit, all of this that's going on. The number 14. So it's like it was another. I think was it something else? No, it wasn't that one. Oh no, yeah. I showed you guys that one. And then for those that just started rocking with me, right? Let me turn that music off. For those that just started rocking with me, I'm pretty sure y'all familiar with this. Let me make sure I have it loaded up. I like this one because this one is funny for me. It's funny to me. Yeah, that one. Bear with me. I got you guys. Yeah. Boom. Make sure that's loaded up. Boom. So I'm pretty sure. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure you guys remember this one. I love showing this one. Let's roll it. Now, for anyone that's new here, that been here maybe for a couple of weeks, I'm not sure if you remember me posting up this. Let's roll it.
This beautiful family, Sean. Wow.
Oh, that's so
Oh my
wild.
gosh.
So I wasn't, we're just now starting to tell people, but number 14 is in the belly. Yeah, you're the first one I've told on TV. So on this live. So we're just now starting to tell everybody. So we have had 10 girls, 3 boys. My oldest son, the 4th overall, Joseph, is a sophomore in high school, and
This beautiful family, Sean. Wow.
Oh, that's so
oh my
wild.
gosh.
Play it again. Play it again.
So I wasn't. We're just now starting to tell people, but number 14 is in the belly. Yeah, you're the first one I've told on TV. So on this live. So we're just now starting to tell everybody. So we have had 10 girls, 3 boys. My oldest son, the 4th overall, Joseph, is a sophomore in high school, and
y'all noticed that, right? Y'all noticed that he had to bring up also his son, which is the 4th oldest. There go that 4 again. So you guys see what I'm saying? Let's make sure I mention that 4. Now, a lot of people can say, oh no, you're looking at it, you're looking at this, you're looking too deep into it, which I understand. I understand you guys may feel that way. You know, I understand you may feel that way. But come on now. Y'all can't say I'm bugging. Y'all can't say I'm bugging on this one. It's right there. Come on. Y'all know that. These things are here for a reason. They tell you these things for a reason. That's all I'm saying. You got to pay attention to it. It's right in front of our faces. Put the chat up a little, put the chat up for a little bit. Right? It's right there in front of our faces. So people that's watching, please understand. I ain't saying all this shit for no reason. I'm not bugging. I ain't no conspiracy theorist. None of this shit. It's all here in front of our faces. I thought chat went out. I don't know why it went out. There it goes. Right back. Right? It's there in front of our faces, y'all. That's all. So it's like, what are we gonna do with this information? I cannot wait until the playoffs happen. When the playoffs happen, I'm gonna be paying close attention. Now, a lot of you guys have who you're rocking with this year. Cool. I don't. I mean, no, I do. You guys know. I'm sorry about that. I do, but my thing is, I hope these guys fall in the right place as far as the seedings. Right? I hope they fall into the right place when it comes to the seedings. Oh, and I would like to say something too, right? I try to tell certain people, and I said this too. I argue with a couple of people. I said, at least for the first half, it can be the whole season, but I said, at least for that first half, you gotta pay attention to the Seattle Seahawks. Did I not say that? I know a couple of people laughed at me. Yes, y'all did. Yes, y'all did. Yes, y'all did. A couple of people laughed at me when I said pay attention to the Seattle Seahawks. I know I ain't lying about that. So if you're somebody that been like betting the Seahawks, you only lost twice. You won 6 times. And if you pounded more on the in-play games, you're doing real good when it comes to dealing with the Seahawks. Sam Darnold, number 14, right? It would be funny if he was to go to the Super Bowl number 14, right? I know I didn't campaign for that, but I made a video. What if that was to happen? Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, right? But he just happens to be number 14. That doesn't mean that number 14 is the one that has to play in the Super Bowl, right? It is possible. It is, and the video I just showed y'all, that actually happened from that comes from a former Seahawk player too, at that, right? But he can make it. That can be the number 14, right? But if not, he's just representing what we might see in the Super Bowl once again, like I said.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes, they've been pushing Seattle. They've been pushing Seattle teams lately, and I said this shit months ago. I said it months ago. Before you're crazy. It's because everybody usually talks about the regular teams. They talk about the Eagles. They talk about Cowboys. They talk about Lions. They talk about Packers. The Buccaneers. 49ers. Even the Rams. Nobody was. I didn't see anybody lift their mouth to talk about the Seahawks or mention anything about the Seahawks at all, except for Seahawk fans. If you think you go on YouTube, it's usually the Seahawk fans, which of course you're gonna see that. Anybody that covers that's from Seattle, that covers Seattle's games and Seattle fans, of course you'll see them on YouTube say, yo, this is our year. But besides that, you ain't hear anybody talk about the Seattle Seahawks. I told people, certain teams, you gotta pay attention to certain teams, the way they set it up. I spoke about it because Sam Darnold was number 14. Oh yeah, I know. I see what they gonna do. I see what they're gonna do. Number 14. That's when I decided to make the videos. It's always clues. It's always clues. That certain players don't have jersey numbers for a certain reason. They don't put certain players for no reason. It's a business. I'm sorry. Anybody that don't want to believe that, well, I got bad news for you. It just is what it is. It's structured that way. Nobody can just go out there and do anything and be the one chosen. No, I'm giving you this. You're going to have this number on your back for a reason. You're going to play for this team for a reason. That's just how it goes. Yeah. The Packers number 14. Also, Packers can get their 14th championship, and the reason why we say championship is because there was championship before the Super Bowl era, and so I understand exactly what Reckless is talking about. Yes, they can get number 14, and to add to that, the whole Jordan Love being 27 thing, that's a possible thing that can happen as well. I saw that not the media, but they did mention it. I hated that because I wish that would have stayed in just the rig scripted fixed community. Because remember, 2 years ago, now anyone that was rocking with me 2 years ago would know that we said Jordan Love was going to be he's going to be 27 around this year. right? And usually this is a pattern of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. We spoke about that whole thing of when they usually all win their Super Bowl around the same time. That's a conversation that we already been had. That's the reason why when I see it on the media now, I'm like, we've been had that conversation. This community been a lot of conversations that the media be having now. We've already had that a long time ago. That's the reason why sometimes I don't be bringing that stuff back up. I'm like, we spoke about that already. Just like there's things that we talk about now, you're not going to see it hit until 2-3 more years later and be like, then you guys can say, oh shit, I remember this episode when we spoke about that years ago. We been did that. We usually know what's going to happen. Not going to happen, but the patterns, right? So that's why I also said this should be the year that Jordan Love, right? If anything, he should be doing something this year. We're going to see what happens this year or next year. Super Bowl 60 or Super Bowl 61. Yeah, the playoffs start 6 days after Sunday and January 4th. Because, yeah, that's the last game of the season, right? That's week 18 on January 4th. Right? The Packers are 4-1 in Super Bowls right now, currently. So maybe they don't make it to the Super Bowl at all, right? Or maybe they do. We see what happens. Because it's going to have to break. Are they going to become 5? Are they going to win their 5th Super Bowl? The Packers, that is. They can win number 5. So that Sunday should have all kind of playoff options. It's gonna be exciting. The media be living in the past. They always talk about stale shit. Exactly, they do. After we already talk about the shit. Green Bay versus Buffalo would be great. I have something to say about that. Well, not something to say about that. No true thoughts. Let me ask you guys a question. I hear that a lot, and not even just in this platform. How many of you guys think we're going to see a Buffalo versus Packers? Is that a possibility? Because I'm not even going to lie to you. I won't push that out. Meaning, I won't be surprised if we was to see a Buffalo versus Green Bay. I will not be surprised. I won't be surprised. Now, here's the thing. You know how crazy this sounds? I'm not saying I'm a Buffalo. You know how I feel once again. But I won't be surprised. Just hear me out. I won't be surprised if Buffalo Bills was to win that year. I mean, if they this year, if we was to see Buffalo versus Green Bay. But I have to go with the seeds. I'm sorry. I want to see what the seeds are. I want to see what Buffalo is. I want to see what Green Bay is. Does Green Bay get number 1? Does Buffalo get number 4? They outbeat the Patriots and end up with the 4th. End up with the division title. Just asking. Do we see that, or does Green Bay drop down to 4? Buffalo end up with a number 1 overall seed, right? These are just questions. But the 2 and the 7 still involved. The 2 and the 2 still involved. Both of them can be number 2s. 2 versus 7 still involved, right? What are we going to see? But overall, I could see Green Bay versus the Packers. I'm sorry. I could see Green Bay versus Buffalo. It's not a crazy. I know it's possible. I could see it now. I would say not really a gatekeeper, but Josh Allen has been someone that always fails. I would say since 2020. Let's say since 2020 when they really started sucking him off. Because that's actually when they started sucking him off. 2018 is when he came in. So it was obviously no. 2019, no, because the Patriot, Tom Brady was still in that division. Right? That was his last year, but so there was no Josh Allen big hype like that, right? It had to take Tom Brady to leave the division and go over he went over to Tampa Bay. Then that's when the Josh Allen talks started to come into play. Remember, see, they had to get rid of one guy in order to, because they already knew, NFL already knew they was going to push Josh Allen. So we can't push him if the quote unquote GOAT is still in that division. Got to get him out. Matter of fact, put him in a different conference, because Patrick Mahomes is also somebody that we push him. We can't have Tom Brady in that same conference with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Let's bring him somewhere else. You guys ain't find that to be a little bit weird, right? Take him and put him somewhere else, right? But no, Josh Allen, 2020, that's when it started, the hype. So you got 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, and we are here right now, present day of 2025, right? He's failed. He's failed all the time, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is, are we going to have him go to the Super Bowl? It's the NFL, right? Are we going to have him go to the Super Bowl and play Jordan Love, right? Which with Josh Allen he has more years seasoned in the league than Jordan Love, right? Or especially the hype. He has bigger hype. They love him in Buffalo. Are we going to have him go in the Super Bowl and lose to Jordan Love? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, ESPN announces DraftKings official sports book, which is weird, because why don't they just go hard with their ESPN bet? We talk about betting a lot, but that's why I tell people to be careful. I'm even careful myself. You don't just want to be just like betting anything, doing anything, and just losing your money. You got to be very careful, be very strategic. You know, that's why also when I send out the picks, I never tell you guys what to do with it. If you choose to parlay all of them yourself, you do it. If you want to parlay 2 of those games, 3 of those games, do so. Everybody's money's different. Everybody's strategy is different, whatever it is, right? These are just the picks. There's, a lot of people go straight solo on Noah games, right? So, there's some people that like it could be like maybe 5 picks I send, and they only take the top 4, and they be like, "Yo, so is this the last game of the day, and that happens to be your last pick that you gave us? Now we not betting with that, because you know what usually happens. The same shit that fucking happened to the Chiefs.
Are you fucking serious?
But other than that, all the 1 o'clock games, boom, would have got paid off already, right? So yeah, is Josh Allen just gonna stink it up? It would be very interesting if Buffalo goes to the playoffs, and not playoffs, Super Bowl. Would I bet them? We would have that conversation when it's time to have that conversation. I'm not gonna lie to you. Am I ruling it out? No, because once again, I can't sit there and have this conversation with you guys for months, and I don't go by what I say. Like, I've been going with the 1 in the 14, right? The 14 is lined up for the Bills this year. You guys know why? They lost 4 Super Bowls. If they win this year, they can go 1 and 4. Right? So I can't just sit there and I can't sit there and go again. There's a possible chance that I could take the Bills to win the Super Bowl if they was to go.
Oh God.
Just saying. Oh yeah. I took them Lakers yesterday, Grotapia. Yeah, I did. I could have sent it out to you guys. I'm not gonna lie, but this one was something that it was last minute. And matter of fact, it was in play too. By the way, I took in play. I don't really hear you guys tell me if I find it in play to let you guys know about it. Members, I'm not sure if that's what you like. I'm not sure if that's what you like. Because I know in play, you don't know you don't know what anybody's situation is at that current moment. Some people may be at work, some people may be busy. They probably can't bet, whatever it is, right? But yeah, I took that, but that was an in play, and yeah, it worked out. It was a crazy ass game. If anyone saw it, that was funny as hell. It was almost like they was trying to give San Antonio the win. It was kind of weird, the stupid mistakes that they was doing. But if anybody that is a member that likes in play, or like even if they don't take it, even if they don't bet it, if they would still like me to like shoot them an email or a text and be like, yo, I like this in play right now. I like this. And you know, they can think about it, but if they would like to know my in play opinion, I have no problem doing it. As anybody knows me, I told you I'm more of an in play player. That's how I actually win. I win more because of my in play record. I take advantage of it, but I know when to do it and when not to do it. Right? And then I look at the value of the pregame. Certain pregame, not even just always the actual spread, but the whole storyline around each game and the stats and, you know, things of that nature. So, you know, if so, you know, but you know, I got you. I got you. Right? So number 14, is anybody dealing with number 14 this year, or dealing with number 27? What else? What else? 7-7, you know, 2 versus 2. That's what I want to know, you know. But you know, for all the guys watching, you know, I gotta shout my dudes out, right? You know what I'm saying? I gotta do that. Floyd Heavy Weather in the goddamn building. Bomb, please. We got T Money in the goddamn building. 2624. Rocking your jaw in the goddamn building. Drop a goddamn bomb, please. There you go, my man Mark Horsfield. You know, he on fire today. I see him. He in the goddamn building. Drop a goddamn bomb for my man Mark. My man Ishmael Reed, 144, rocking your jaw in the goddamn building. Drop a bomb for Ishmael, please. We got my man Dancing Poppy. He in the chat. Dancing Poppy in the goddamn building. You know, he like Green Bay and all that shit, but you know, Dancing Poppy, drop a bomb for him, please. Right, G, Triple G, right? Triple G, and we ain't talking about the boxer. Triple G pick in the goddamn building, drop a bomb, please. You know, my lovely wife stopped in the chat saying hello with the fires and shit like that, so she stopped by, drop a bomb for all that, please. Please. Exactly. Who else we got in the goddamn building? And by the way, y'all better guard your children. That's right. Well, we got my man TB Izzy 1K in the goddamn building. Hey, yo, TB, bomb, please. That's right. My man Bill Faye all day in the building. Hey, yo, chill, Bill, bomb, please. We got my man Mello the Great 13. Mello the Great. And y'all bet not hating the goddamn building. That's right. Once again, people, when I say building, I mean the people that's in the chat. So the ones that's not in the chat, that's watching, though, shout out to all y'all. Y'all can be anywhere in the world, but you here with me, the one and only B, right? We got the Cannon in the, you know, the Cannon in the building. Yo, Cannon, what's up, my guy? Always great to see you. He said the 27 Club. You already know what that is. Drop a bomb for my man Cannon. That's right. And we got my man Punky Monkey. I'm telling you, right now, he's number one with the best name on here. I told y'all that. So far, I don't know. So far, if any of y'all change your name to something crazy, I would like it. But so far, Punky Monkey's number one. But my man Punky Monkey in the goddamn building. The one and only MATZEYOW. Well, I try to do the whole Method Man thing, but you know, Maddie in the goddamn building. It didn't work out, but I tried. Maddie, drop a goddamn bomb. I call him Maddie, aka Mateo. Dead ass. I like that because it's actually, technically, they both the same. I know. Y'all probably like, I'm crazy.
Are you fucking serious?
But nah, for real. You know what I'm saying? I like that. But you know, that's my chat. Oh yeah, Reckless in the goddamn building. You know, Reckless is in the chat. Please drop a bomb for Reckless. I'ma take y'all necklace. That's it, my man. Repeat. Y'all think shit is sweet in the goddamn building. There you go, Repeat. Drop a motherfucking bomb. That's my boy, Repeat. Growtopia, aka Growtopia. He already know. He's there. He said, yeah, LeBron to be 41 in the month. Growtopia, aka Growtopia. Growtopia in the goddamn building. Somebody better guard your children. Desmond Dixon in the goddamn building. Also, shout out to our man, Desmond Dixon. Let's see what we have. Let's see if we have a nice weekend again, if you know what I mean. My man DE, my man Dude, DEW83 in the goddamn building, right? Because he said, what up? What up, B? I'm at work. I'm telling my co-workers about how fixed these sports are. Half of them feel me. The other half want to say, the other half want to stay in denial. Salute to my G. Salute to you. Bomb, please. Who else? Who else? Who else? Yeah, Antonio in the goddamn building. Antonio Mims, what's up? 25-28. Drop a motherfucking bomb for my man Antonio. Reckless. Did I get you already, right? Yeah, Reckless. I'm gonna take your necklace. Yeah, I had to make sure I said it. That's right. I got my man Dud, Bowl, Low, Lights in the building. Another bomb for my man Dud, please. And yes, I heard about the Cowboys player that died. And it was funny. Look at the age that he died. There go that goddamn number once again. That whole 6, right? We always been talking about the 6 for a while. For anyone that's new to the channel, the whole 6 thing, we can go on all day about that one. But I find it funny, there's certain numbers, people always dying. Yes, the Cowboys player had passed away. Yes. Not a bomb for that, but yeah, shout out to you on that one. That's what I mean. But yeah, my man Buff Daddy in the goddamn building. Guard your children, my man Buff Daddy. That name's still crazy. That's still funny to me. But yeah, my man Buff in the goddamn building. He in the chat. Another bomb. Who else we got? Yeah, sure enough. Yeah, sure. I think we got everybody that's in the chat. We got everybody that's in the chat already. You know, so yeah, I mean, so now, what game, for everyone that's listening, let's talk about upsets. What's your upset? No, I don't even want to say upset. What game you guys like this week? Honest, in the chat right now. What game are y'all rocking with this week? Like, what is the game that you like, right? That you have your eyes on, that you think can affect the seedings in the stands and or the division or even the conference? What game do you guys like? Give it to me in the chat right now. What's the game y'all rocking with? In the chat. Mark, now Mark, is that, because I just finished saying what I was saying. Are you saying that's the game you like, or you just giving me the whole 2-7 stat thing, right? Because Mark, if you guys see, Mark says the Jets versus the Browns. The Jets win and they go 2-7. The Browns lose, they go 2-7. Actually, note that, people, because that is a game that I didn't give out, but I did write that game down. And that very stat, I promise you, I wrote down. It's just, I'm trying to study that specific game because I'm trying to figure out when they're gonna let Shedeur in, and the Browns have to keep losing in order to put him in. And that's the reason why I didn't give that. I didn't give that out to any of you guys, right? But that is actually something that I like. But now that we're talking about it as a whole, I do think, me personally, I do think that the Jets win that game. I think the Jets win the game so the Browns can lose, because Shedeur's gonna have to come in. If the Browns win or go on some winning streak, there's no need to put in Shedeur. It just doesn't make no sense. You guys know how that go. It's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if the Browns, they lose a little bit more games and starting now, because what, they coming from the bye, right? They lose, they like, you know what? Then we just gonna have to pull the plug and we're gonna have to put in Shador, right? So I actually do like I like the Jets as far as that game. Now, I can't. It's dancing. You said I can't. It's for the members. What was you talking about, Boppy? What was you talking about when you said I can't? It's for the members. Let me know. Mark says, yeah, Jets money line. He's rocking with Jets money line. T Money says he's rocking with the Ravens money line. I actually agree with you on that one. I mean, it is what it is. I agree with that one. I agree. There has been a change though, because that's a game that I sent out to people. But I tell you this, T Money, watch out for that. Watch out for that game. Like I seen something weird, right? But for the most part, I can't disagree with you. You know, for the most part on that one. Floyd says the Steelers versus the Chargers. Aaron Rodgers has trouble winning in the state of California, aka we already know he has trouble winning against the 49ers. So that's really what Floyd is really talking about for you guys. If you don't understand what he means by that, that usually does happen with Aaron Rodgers for the most part. You know, of course he's lost to the Rams and shit like that, but he's talking about like just Aaron Rodgers losing in Cali a lot, especially to the 49ers, having the best of him, the team that he always wanted to play for growing up, kind of like Tom Brady, and then he's also from California. You know, so there's a couple of comparisons there, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers as far as California. Not Tom Brady losing in California all the time, but the whole Cali thing. So yeah, I understand that one. And another thing about that game is I want y'all to be careful because it's similar to the game that they had against the Colts last week. Even though Aaron Rodgers is going back to the West Coast to play, I don't want to give it away. It's something very similar. I'll just say that. Right? I'll just say that. Mark, yeah, he does like the Jets. Repeat says the Rams money line they can improve to 7-2. There you go. They can improve to 7-2 with the Rams money line. So Repeat likes the Rams. Dancing Poppy says I'm thinking the Falcons. Maybe the Colts downfall. I listen. I am against the Colts for the second half of the season. Every single game, no, I'm not going to say that, but I do think he's gonna get. I think the NFL is going to bring him back down to reality, right? I'm not going to say they lose every single game, no, because that would be too obvious. But treating these guys like they the number one overall, the best team in the league, I don't think that's going to happen. I see a downfall coming, so I understand what you mean when you say that. Mark says I like the Saints. Again, where did that go? Where did that go? I like the Saints with the 5.5. Saints, you're talking about the Saints and Carolina Panthers. That's another game that caught my eye, y'all. And I seen a change on the spread. I'm a little suspect, but I will not be surprised. I'll tell you this, I will not be surprised. Let's just say this. If the game ends up a close game, maybe a field goal game at best. I know that the Saints and the Panthers is not an eye-opener game or a game that you guys would pay attention to, but I promise you, pay attention to that game, please. Pay attention to that game. Pay attention to that. For some reason, Reckless says, for some reason, I think the Vikings beat the Ravens. It's a sketchy game. I tell you, with that line movement, it is a sketchy game. And if any of my members made their bets already, well, hopefully y'all didn't, because y'all probably want to see what Thursday and fall and Friday is looking like. I will come back to you guys with something. Yeah, it is a sketchy game. It is a sketchy game, Reckless. I get you. I seen some weird line movements. I don't blame you for feeling that way. Oh, Dancing Poppy says I'm messing with you. That's a B Fire line. Oh, okay. I get it. I know, because I thought you had something for the members that you wanted me to, you know what I mean? That you wanted me to forward or something like that. But yeah, that is one of my lines. Yeah, it's for the members. Okay, that was a good one. I like that. Mello says the Ravens can afford to lose another game because they are only 2 games back in the division. Yes, Mello. Let me ask you a question. So what does that do for the the Steelers? Now, do you think the Steelers can afford to lose though? Even though the Ravens can afford to lose, right? Because now the Ravens is fighting for the 6 or 5 spot. Sorry, right? So can they afford? What do the Steelers? What can they afford to do? So I like that one. Mark says the Falcons can get that plus 6.5 spread. Absolutely. Whenever I see 6.5, you guys don't hear me talk about it, but usually when I see 6.5, usually the underdogs be winning outright most of the time. Because why 6.5? That's saying that you don't trust the kicker, right? Because 6.5, that's basically saying that somebody don't trust the kicker, or the kicker for the favorite, right? Whoever the favorite is, you don't trust the kicker. Because the touchdown 6 points, with the extra point, with the extra kick, that's 7 points. So whenever I see a 6.5, that's letting me know that the quote unquote book is telling you something about the favorite. Some fishy shit gonna go on. So yeah, I understand that one. Buff Daddy says Josh Allen team as a kid too. Yes, the 49ers. He loved the 49ers. That I remember at one point I did predict the Buffalo versus what they call that. Buffalo versus the 49ers, and the 49ers winning, Josh Allen losing to his team. You know, one of those things, but we have yet to see that happen. Floyd says if the Ravens lose, they're done. Like I said, I do think that the Ravens game, the Raven team, they're going to be fighting for maybe a wild card spot, and that's when things get exciting. If they end up losing that last spot, there's still excuse that the games that Lamar missed. So I can understand that happening. And I think that might happen if the Steelers can stay with the division, at least. Because remember, guys, what do we always say? We in the second half of the season, some dumb shit can happen. So, just saying. Buff Daddy likes the 49ers. So I think he likes the 49ers to beat the Rams. Okay, for what I understand, your man Brock Purdy is not playing again. And the quarterbacks being paid to lose thing, that's going to drop sooner or later. You guys, I'm telling you, I've been wanting to drop that for so long, but every time I get new news, that's the reason why I can't drop it. But I might just have to be on some fucking shit. And Brock Purdy's like one of the guys on my list. He's a perfect example when I say quarterbacks get paid to lose or to fake injuries. Fake an injury or lose. And because you notice they always get paid. And when they get paid, these things always happen. Brock Purdy just got paid. So what did you pay him for? It seems like he got paid to take a step back and let your man Mac Jones rock. I like Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson got paid to take a step back. I really do think that whole thing with him was fake. He got paid after all that. Think about it. He got paid after. Why would you pay somebody after all of that mess? We got something for you. We're going to pay you. You're going to have to take a step back. You won't be playing. I know a lot of people still don't understand when I say that, but that's exactly what it is, right? Floyd says the Colts are frauds. Absolutely, they are frauds. I tell people, be very careful.
Are you fucking serious?
I mean, let's call it what it is. Their owner passed away. They have a new owner, which is a female, and you already know how that goes. They're gonna make it look good. They're gonna make it look good, and they're gonna go back to regular scheduled programming. We already know what's going to happen. Anybody that has a fucking brain should know exactly what's going to happen. Even if they was to go to the Super Bowl this year, the fall off with the Colts after this season is going to, yeah, you guys are going to see. It's only because it's the new owner, which is a female, and that owner that just passed, their owner that just passed away. It just is what it is, right? Mark says the Lions downfall for sure. How many of you guys have picked the Lions in that parlay last week? Don't lie, because I know a lot of you guys did. That's the reason why I said stay away from that game. Y'all remember that? Stay away from that game. And another reason, you guys know I'm heavy on the Packers too. You notice I didn't pick that game either. Certain games and certain teams, you have to know when to pick them and when to stay away. The games that you think that they always supposed to win, just like that, they lose. It's kind of like when the Packers lost to the Browns. Everyone thought that that was a for sure thing, right? No. The NFL and these books are not stupid. They're not stupid. So yeah, Lions downfall for sure. I mean, I don't even say downfall with the Lions because they always been trashed to me.
Are you fucking serious?
So I usually don't say a downfall with the Lions, to be honest with you. Right? Mello said the Saints at least cover the 5.5. I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. I won't be surprised if they actually end up winning the game because now that the Panthers are quote unquote doing good, so what? Are they just going to win the rest of their games and what? Possibly win the division if Tampa Bay lets up? So if Tampa Bay ends up losing, let's say this week and then another week, does the Panthers just take over? I don't know if I see that. Not just yet. I don't know about that. Bill says, I bet the Ravens money line. So Bill has the Ravens money line. Hey, listen, I know a lot of people's heavy on the Ravens. Desmond has the Ravens as well. Hey, we just gotta see. We just gotta see what happens, man. We just gotta see what happens. Like, once again, whenever you guys mention the Ravens to me, I can't think about the Ravens without thinking about the Steelers. One team's gonna have to do good, the other one has to drop off, or so to say, right? If Steelers keep doing good, then you're gonna have to expect the team in maybe the AFC West to do bad. That way the Ravens can luck up and get a final spot. Shit, even the Chiefs don't have a spot. These are things that we all have to think about. We in the second half of the season. So if any of you guys is heavy on the Ravens, you have to fade against the teams that's in a 6 or 7 spot right now. You would have to. It makes sense. And some of you guys may not want to do that. So then it makes no sense betting the Ravens. Right? So I just watch out for that. Mark says the Washington spread. Nobody thinks Washington can win or come close. It's going to be close. What's the updated? Hold on. I'll do that right now. Okay, so you know that means that the Lions can just lose again on the big spread because this is over a touchdown. Last week they was over a touchdown. You guys think the Lions do it again? I have no opinion on it. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like you guys are saying. That would be crazy. That would be crazy if that was to happen. I'm gonna be honest. Danson says, Poppy says, I could see Daniel Jones comeback player of the year. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Listen, they have 7-2, right? It's not like they're gonna lose all of their games from here on out. No, you could win a couple of more games. That's still enough for you to be comeback player of the year for sure. So I don't count that. I don't count him out on that one. I actually can see that. I can see that for sure. Comeback player of the year. Absolutely. Mark says Carolina gets their ass beat because everyone is talking about them beating Green Bay.
Are you fucking serious?
Usually you guys know how that goes. Does that not happen in the NFL all the time? You beat one team that you quote unquote not supposed to beat, right? Everyone talks about you. And then next thing you know, what happens the next week? You lose against a team that you wasn't supposed to lose against.
You stupid. Oh! Are you fucking serious?
Happens all the time. Buff Daddy says Joe Burrow gets comeback player of the year for the third time. Here's the thing about that. It's interesting you say that. Joe Burrow comes back when? He comes back in December, right? Now, Buff Daddy, do you think he plays enough games to where he can get that award? That's what we gotta ask ourselves, Buff. Right? Because if he gets comeback player of the year, so now what you're saying is Joe Burrow comes back in December. And Cincinnati Bengals go on a run, right? That's what you're saying. Cincinnati Bengals go on a run. Because if he does bad, that whole comeback player of the year doesn't make no sense. Right? Because the team, like, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Anybody that's not in the chat, for the people who's watching right now, please let me know if I'm correct, right? Like, in order to get comeback player of the year, Joe Burrow, that is, he would actually have to do good, right? So if he does good, that would make more sense. So it's anyone that does believe that, or anybody that's with that, you guys might be rooting for Cincinnati Bengals to be fighting for a playoff spot. Right? Yo, we've been seeing a lot of 27 stats going on, which brings us to today's topic of the show. Number 14, 2 times the 7. For anyone that just came in, you might want to watch the playback when you have the time. We broke down a lot of shit about the number 14. Now, there's been a lot of stats and a lot of streaks, winning streaks and losing streaks that's been going on these past couple days. Obviously, we can't cover them all, but there's been a lot going on. You know, I shared some info, right? But just pay attention to the number. If you see the number 3 related to the number 11 somehow, you already know what it is, right? I'm just saying, little things like that we pay attention to, right? But Buff says, I don't think he'll get it for a third time, but it would be funny as hell. Yeah, that wouldn't even make sense if he was to get that shit. I'd be like, come on now, how the hell was he able to get comeback player of the year when you was damn near out the whole season? So that'd be crazy. I think Daniel Jones gets. That's what Grandy says, right? Grandy, yeah. You just got in. You just came in, Grandy. If not, drop a bomb. I think Daniel Jones gets comeback player. He got it on Smash, so it's like basically a foregone conclusion that he's gonna make it. Like, he got it. Okay. I think the Saints is going to beat the Panthers. That spread is funny to me. That's what I'm saying. For anybody watching, listen, my thoughts, right? Me personally, like, you don't got to run with this shit. My thoughts on that game, to be honest with you, personally, this is just my thoughts. I would not be surprised if the Saints actually win that game. Or the game ends in a field goal. I'm gonna say that again. I will not be surprised. The Jets and Browns. Well, that's not a pick that I sent out to people, so that's a game honestly that I think I'm gonna stay away from as far as like even attempted to touch. I just want to see what's gonna happen with the whole Shador thing. So honestly, like that game, I really don't have nothing to say. I mean, I said what I said a couple minutes ago, but that's not nothing I'm gonna actually touch officially. I'm gonna say that now. I would, if I had to touch a game that I originally didn't touch, or a game I didn't send out to nobody, honestly, like saying this, I actually do like that Saints versus Carolina game, and will not be surprised if we see a certain outcome. I'm saying that now. They have the Arizona upset in people's heads. The Raiders have no chance. Wait. They have the Arizona upset in people's heads. The Raiders have no chance. Are you talking about today's game? Like that the Raiders are not going to win against the Broncos tonight? Let me know if that's what you're talking about. Or you just talking about the media in general, right? But yeah, the Raiders, no, not the Raiders and the Broncos. What do you guys think about Jacksonville Jaguars and the Texans? Me personally, I can see the Texans actually winning that game. It's crazy because whenever I decide to pull the trigger on the Texans, that's when they win. I'm not saying that this is gonna happen, but I can see okay, yeah, I can see the Texans beating the Jaguars. I can see it happening. I can see it. I can actually see it happen. Will it happen or no? I can see it happen. The Giants and the Bears, I thought it was going to be a blowout at first. I don't really have nothing to say. Well, I don't have nothing to say publicly about that. Let's just say that. But I have my thoughts on what's up about that game. Now that game has a lot to do with the Vikings and the Bears because we got to look at it like this. That's why I tell people when you guys bet or when you talk about the game, you got to pay attention to the standings, right? You got Green Bay at 5-2. You got Detroit Lions at 5-3. You got Chicago Bears at 5-3. And you got Minnesota Vikings at 4-4. So basically, if anybody thinks that the Giants is going to beat the Bears, which you have every right to feel that way, right? So the Bears go down to 5-4. If anybody thinks that the Vikings is going to beat the Ravens, they become 5-4. So both teams are now tied. So do you guys think is that what you think is going to happen? Or do the Bears go to 6-3 and the Vikings drop down to 4-5? I'm asking. I'm not saying what's going to happen, but I'm asking. So I'm just asking. We got to think about that, right? So that that can be questionable. I see that the line moved too, right? But I have my thoughts on that one. Baltimore Ravens versus the Vikings. I see that line moved as well. I have my thoughts about that one as well. We'll see what happens with both of those games. That's what I'm gonna say. Jets, Browns. I do want to see how the Browns perform because sooner or later we will see Shador. It's just a matter of when. So let's see what happens with that one. Saints and Panthers, like I said, I will not be surprised if the Saints go out in a close game, possibly winning the game. Right? What's the stats on that one? Not the stats, but what's the standings on that one? So as we can see, Tampa Bay is 6-2, right? Panthers are 5-4, Falcons 3-5, New Orleans 1-8. So if anybody that's out there that's on the Panthers, which have every right to, they're the fake, quote unquote, the favorites, right? They can go to 6-4. And it really doesn't matter. Now, hear this out. It really doesn't matter, at least for this week. The Buccaneers can take a L and still be in first place of the division. But they would only be in first place still because they have less losses than Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers have 4 losses, right? So Carolina Panthers win the game. They become 6-4. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is 6-3. I mean, they're already 6-2. If they lose, they become 6-3. So even though they both have the same amount of wins, Tampa Bay has less losses. They'll still be in first place. So I guess we could look at it like that. But that also means that if Carolina Panthers have 6, we still got to pay attention to Seahawks, Rams, 49ers, and Philly that also have 6 wins as well. Even though a lot of them, I mean, the Eagles are 6-2. They don't have 3 losses. I understand that. San Francisco has 3 losses, though. But the Rams and Seahawks have 2. This is what I'm saying. Every game has a lot to do with each other. I think every game has a lot to do with each other. So before we pick, always think about other games that's involved. All these games are involved with each other, right? The Bills and the Dolphins. I'm pretty sure everybody has their mind made up on what's going to happen with that game. I don't really have an opinion on that game. Honestly, I mean, it's expected for the Bills to win, right? I would think so. So I'm pretty sure everybody's on the Bills. If you guys put that in your parlay, you're rocking with the Bills. Um, New England versus Tampa Bay. Um, really can't speak on that. My members know why. Arizona Cardinals and the Seahawks. Now that's going to be an interesting game. What do you guys think about that one? Seahawks and the Carolina Panthers. I'm not and the Cardinals. 6.5. What did I just say about the 6.5? What are we going to see? Are we going to see any stupid shit happen with the 6.5? It's a Seahawks. Hey, we just got to fall back and see what happens, right? What game was it? What game was that? Hold on. Didn't I do a show this the last time they went against each other? Wasn't it that close ass game, right? Hold on, I'm looking for something too, by the way. You guys wondering what I'm doing. Wasn't that a Thursday? What game was that? Was that a Thursday game, right? When we had Seahawks versus Arizona. I know it was. I know it was. I know I'm not tripping. Let me check that. Yes, it was. Yes, it was when they lost by 3. They actually came back. They was losing, and they ended up losing by 3. And they was actually at home. Now Seahawks is home. Spread is 6.5. I'm gonna watch that game. I'm gonna watch that game very close. That's probably a game that you fuck with the in play. I'll be honest with you. You fuck with the in play for that one. Yes, it's for the members. That's right, Dancing Bobby. He knows what it is. Mark says Chicago by 4 points. That's what I'm saying. That movement's kind of weird. Um, Grand D Marquis says he has Tampa. He got Tampa winning that game. Okay. Buff says New England keeps their streak till they hit 7 and lose the next game. Let me see that. Let me see something about their record. Well, Patriots is already at 2 though, Buff Daddy. That's the thing. Patriots is 7-2. Patriots are 7-2. So let me know if you still feel the same way. They're already at 7 right now, Buff. So they're making Brissett look good in Arizona. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what that's about. They're making him look good. Yeah, I see that. But we already know how that's gonna go. He's gonna drop down. The Rams versus the 49ers. That another line movement. How do you guys feel about that one? When do you guys how do you guys feel about that one? 49ers and the Rams. I have my thoughts about that one. Yeah, I have my thoughts on that one. Can't say it, but I have my thoughts. We said Lions and Commanders. It's expected for the Detroit Lions to win the game, but do they drop? Is this a drop year for them? Do they lose 2 big games in a row? That's something that we're gonna have to ask ourselves. Do they lose? Does the NFL gonna let them lose 2 big games in a row? That's important. Steelers and the Chargers. That has dropped down to 2.5. Well, this is me watching FanDuel. Um, I usually pick the Steelers when it comes to certain games. I pick Chargers when it comes to certain games. I don't bet them all the time. I usually know when to go in and out when it comes to these 2 teams, and they so happen to be going against each other. You still got to pay attention to what the NFL has in store for the Chiefs and what they have in store for the Bills. I'm not the Bills, the Ravens. The Chiefs and the Ravens. Chiefs and Ravens. You have to think about what they have in store for them because this affects the Steelers and the Chargers as well. As you guys know, those are both divisions. So, before you pick, think about the Chiefs, think about the Ravens. What's in store for them before you just go out and pick the Steelers to win, or if you go out there and pick the Chargers to win, right? Just know that. Eagles versus the Packers. I have my thoughts on that one. I can't say. I have my thoughts on that one. Interesting game. Interesting game. Yeah, I have my thoughts on that one. I think I know who. I think I know who's gonna win that game. Who I feel is gonna win this game. So I mean, so far, I mean, we got Panthers and the Saints is where I want to see the funny dumb shit happen. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know, that's what it is. So that's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like so far this week. I sent the picks out to the members. The link is on the top. It's pinned to the top on this chat. Right? We're gonna see what happens. If anything changes too, I'll let you guys know. I'll be transparent and be like, you know, blah blah blah. But I'm sticking with what I picked. So I don't see no changes. I'm sticking with it. Now, any add-ons, as far as add-ons, like I said, I'll let it be known. If there's any colleges, any little things that I find in college, because remember, you guys don't got the college picks. I'll send that if I feel it makes sense. It has to make sense. I don't want to just be sending anything. Right? So this was also a good show. Of course, we're gonna see more 1-4 things pop up. Because this is only like, I don't know how many shows we had then talking about 14. We're gonna keep having them, you know, because we have to let the world know here in Rick Scripted and Fixed, we spoke about that 14. Remember where you heard it first, right? So we're gonna see more of that. And couple of NBA picks in play. If I can send it your way, you know, we're gonna see. It should be a good slate tonight too. Should be a good slate tonight. And we had a good ass show. So I mean, shit, I need to know. I need to know from y'all. Is it rigged? Is it scripted? Is it fixed? Me, I don't know. I'm just a regular old person. I don't know, but I need you to tell me. See y'all on the next one. We out.